aesthetic experiences. My medium is primarily visual, and I work with light as well. Today I'm going to talk about a series of work that I've been working on for the past year called Flowing Light. A little bit of background about myself: I used to shoot movies as a cinematographer. So a lot of my work involved working with lighting, but a lot about lighting for the camera and not for the human eye. So recently I've been doing more work. I haven't been shooting movies, but I've been doing more work about creating this kind of light experiences for humans. And I got a lot of my inspiration from natural phenomena. I don't know if you know these, but nature does very interesting things with light and particles. And when I look at it, it creates a sense of awe that you don't even think about how it's done. And that's the kind of experience that I try to create through my work. About a year ago, I was shopping for a toy for one of my friend's kids, and I came across this toy called the string shooter. And it makes these very unintuitive shapes. And I tried making my own here. And what I did is took this and tried to play with it through projected light. So if you think of light as a volume, you can use the string shooter to take 3D cross sections out of the light to expose bits of it. So it looks like floating light. And this was the first piece in my Flowing Light series. This is a constant motion it goes through some audio effects and some sound effects. And this is my first version. Now, I took that and I tried doing some performances as well. So I worked with a very talented musician called Eloise, and this is a concert that we did at Bing Concert Hall down at Stanford. So the left, I think this is a 5-footer that's going, and the audience doesn't see the string. So it's just this floating light, and Eloise is doing a live performance on a grand piano here. We've done different versions, so you can play games like more than one with different kind of music. So here's a different performance we did. And when it's pitch black, the audience really doesn't see the string, and they just see this light that's floating. Now these are passive experiences. I've also done versions of this where the audience can interact with it. So here's another piece. I worked with a very talented designer and mechanical engineer, Lena. And instead of using motors, we're using air here. And the users can paint light in the sky. And you can imagine if you use like an accelerometer, you can really do some very fun games with this. And here's another version we did. This one is a 50-footer. It's not air. We're using drone motors. So there's the experience that the person interacting with it has, but there's also this experience where the passerbys look at this thing and they're going, "What is this?" Now, toys aren't the only thing I do. Here's another piece I did. This was for the D School's 20th anniversary. Their theme happened to be string, so they roped me into this. We made a string curtain, and this is in collaboration with another artist, John Whitmark. And what it is it scintillates. So we have these strings, and we have a very narrow plane of light. And there's wind that is moving these strings, and whenever the string goes into the light stream, it looks like it's glowing up. It's very low tech, but it creates a very unintuitive aesthetic. And flowing light goes beyond strings. So here's another piece I've done. Right now it's at TIAC. It is called Flow Up Light. Eloise did the music here, and this is playing with fluorescent powder that's flowing through tubes. So when the room is dark enough, it really looks like there's just these light things that are dancing around. And there's really fun shapes that you can create with these vinyl tubes. And here's what it looks like. It comes in all different shapes and sizes. So here's one we did. So I haven't really gone into the technology here, but there's a lot of technology that goes into the work I create. I think my philosophy is very much like shooting a movie. So when you're shooting a movie as a cinematographer, you don't really want the audience to know how you did it. Everything, all the complicated stuff is outside of the frame, and in the same way, that's what I try to do with my work. I want my work to be the tension and not the technology, but if you're curious about how I to do any of this, please come to my stand. I brought the machine that does the Bing concert here. I brought a smaller version of it that you can play with. And I have 2 new pieces as a part of my Flowing Light series that is going to be at TIAT starting next week. Next week? This week? Next week. Thank you very much.